Parents trust bus driver to drop kids to school only to learn one day he made a shocking detour. Parents always worry about their kids. It's a fact of life, especially when their offspring are so young. There's so much danger out there, especially when you consider that some people prey on little children who can't defend themselves. For that reason, when the parents of around 50 children found out that a bus driver had made a mysterious detour while driving their kids to school, they were on high alert. And when they found out what the driver did with their kids, they were in disbelief. It was the season that most kids look forward to, winter. The joy that fills kids knowing they can build snowmen, create snow angels, and hurl snowballs at each other is what makes childhood all the more fun. However, while it did spell a great time for kids, parents, on the other hand, were less than enthusiastic. When it snowed badly, that meant it would have been difficult to get to work. What's more, it could also mean that school might be canceled. Along with bad blizzards, parents were also concerned about black ice. Also known as clear ice, black ice is a thin coating of transparent ice that is difficult to see. As a result, it is extremely dangerous for road users since it isn't that visible and, consequently, can result in driving mishaps. Trusting a bus driver with their kids' lives was even more terrifying. And one day, their greatest fear came true. For parents, black ice is always a nightmare because they can't prepare for it in advance. Usually it forms overnight when temperatures are at their lowest. Therefore, they never really know when it's coming until it eventually does. However, the bus driver wasn't concerned much about the dangers of black ice. There was something else on his mind that day. It was on a black ice-filled day that this story of concerned parents, detours, and school children needing to get to school takes place. A notification was issued by the Shelby County of Tennessee indicating that school would be starting a little later than expected due to the presence of black ice on the roads. Although parents were not aware of the presence of black ice the previous day, they were not shocked that there was a notification of a delay. After all, black ice is not to be toyed with. Naturally, drivers would take their time and not rush on such a treacherous surface. However, one person who got the memo late on the delay was Wayne, a school bus driver. However, the bad weather didn't stop him from sticking to his plan. Despite the alarming news, he picked up the kids and took them on an unfamiliar route. When parents found out that there was an announcement of a delay, they immediately got into contact with their children to find out when they would be arriving at school. To their dismay, they learned that the bus driver had taken a different route, and they were no longer headed for school. Parents went into immediate panic mode. They trusted Wayne. For 5 years, he had been driving that school bus and had, without fail, delivered their kids to their respective schools. Why on earth was he taking them somewhere else? What was he going to do with them? When Wayne found out about the delay, he thought for a minute. Then he made a decision that no one would have ever expected. It was an excellent opportunity to do something he was planning to do for a while. In his 5 years as a school bus driver, Wayne developed a strong relationship with the kids that he would bring to school. He knew them by name, face, and habit. He also knew that, unlike other students, those being transported on his bus were on a special program. What was the master plan behind his actions? Without giving the kids any notice, Wayne started down a path that they were not familiar with. They asked him where they were heading to. All he could answer was, "Don't worry, you'll see." As you can imagine, when parents heard this, they were notably concerned. Some demanded that he turn the vehicle around immediately. However, Wayne kept pressing on. Wayne wanted to keep it a surprise. However, in doing so, he knew that the kids' parents would be frightened. Most of the kids had smartphones and were in constant communication with their parents. Little did the kids know what was about to happen to them next. Wayne was aware of the fact that the children on his bus were the enrollees in the nationwide school lunch program. This initiative provides kids with meals for breakfast and lunch while they are at school. Wayne knew that the delay in school arrival would mean that the kids would miss breakfast, a crucial part of their meal plan, but that was the least of his concerns. Despite sticking to his strange plan, Wayne did not like the idea of driving the kids when they wouldn't have anything to eat. Therefore, he felt compelled to do something about it. When Wayne brought the bus to a stop, all the kids automatically knew what was happening. He brought them to McDonald's. Wayne was going to give them a chance to get a hot meal. The kids were happy. They thought it was a nice gesture. After all, that was the least that he could do at that moment. However, the real shock came when the kids were done placing their order. When it was time to pay, instead of forcing the kids to foot the bill, Wayne paid for all of their meals. He had purchased them all hot biscuits that would allow them to have something warm in their stomachs. Wayne didn't ask for any money in return. That was his way to give back. However, the kids were still concerned with why he couldn't just drive them to school instead. When the kids had gotten their respective meals and were loaded back onto the bus, they gave Wayne a heartfelt thank you through a combination of fist bumps, ecstatic shouts, and words of gratitude. What was going to happen to them next? The words of gratitude showered upon Wayne. He was overwhelmed with emotion. While he did feel good about what he had done, to him it seemed natural. He was just doing what he thought was right. Still, he deserved to be acknowledged for his good deeds. When school officials heard about the generous act, they had to let the world know how much of an impact he had on their kids' lives. They took to their Facebook page and wrote a beautiful post describing the act of kindness that he had done and how they were so appreciative of it. What's more, they were sure to highlight another factor that made the gesture all the more special. It was the Christmas season. That was the icing on the cake that melted everyone's hearts when they saw the post. Thanks to the school's Facebook post, Wayne became something of an internet sensation. The post garnered hundreds of likes, comments, and reactions as people shared their support for the generous act done by the bus driver. In light of his overnight fame, many close friends and family relatives were contacted to speak about the driver. One such person was his mother. She stated that she was so proud of him in the good deeds that he had done. She knew that she had raised a great son and had instilled solid values in him. She was so happy to see him with a great heart and a moral compass. Among other things, Wayne's mother was sure to mention that he was also a mentor on several youth teams, as well as an organizer for special trips where teenagers would volunteer their time on Navajo reservations. He was someone who loved to help others. Parents were also relieved when they heard what he had done. At first, they were concerned about the safety of their kids. However, when they learned the good that he had done, they were thrilled. To this day, the kids on his bus always remind him of how great a person he is. No matter where they go in life, he will always have a special place in their hearts.